Hello and welcome to the Arsenal BiteSize Podcast. I'm your host Clayton at ClaytonAFC on Twitter, back with my co-host at FPL Nima. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, Clayton. Happy Wednesday. It's the big day today. We're playing Luton at the Emirates. I'm excited.
Yeah, when you said big day, I was like, what's happening? So, it says a lot that I've this is a horrible comment, but kind of take for granted these kind of smaller teams coming to the Emirates because I'd like to think it will be pretty routine. And I know that comes across as quite arrogant, but I think we've earned the right to be fairly arrogant, to be honest. But obviously, Southampton at home sticks in mind from last year, as does Bournemouth. So I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. But yeah, it's match day. So let's get into it. We'll try and get this out nice and early. Obviously, it's 9 a.m. in the UK. So predicted lineups. So obviously, the lineup against Man City was David Raya in goal, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel Kivior. Midfield was Jorginho, Rice, and Odegaard. And then up top was Jesus, Havertz, and Saka. And I guess in terms of fitness, press conference type stuff, Arteta said Saka is available. When he did when he did his presser yesterday, which was obviously Tuesday, he said that he hadn't trained yet, but there would be a training session later that day. But he did say 90 minutes was too much for Saka on Sunday against Man City. Martinelli obviously was in the squad, and Arteta said, yeah, he was in the squad, so he's available to play 90 minutes. But we saw Trossard came on before Martinelli on Sunday, so I don't know if there's anything to read into that in terms of his availability. But where are you at with lineups for tonight? I feel like there is a lot of talk about rotation, whether Saka starts. Where are you at with it?
Yeah, so I do think there'll be some rotation, but I think it's been overblown a bit personally. Obviously, we've not, just for the record, for the listeners and viewers, like we've not like discussed this. So what we're both going to say might be completely different as well. Like I think that's the beauty of it. We come into these previews just ready to like unload what we think for the game ahead, and it's just a really nice combo and casual chat. So do get involved if you're in the live chat and let us know what you think as well. But
And on that note, we have got Uncle Mike's in this morning. He really likes Rob Edwards doing a fantastic job at Luton. He is, to be fair. I do hope they stay up. Yeah, Mike, let us
yeah,
know
I really like
what your
his.
thoughts on the lineup is.
Yeah, no, I really like Rob Edwards actually. I think he's a respectful coach as well, and the way he's talked about us before this season,
And
and
he's a
like,
good-looking fucker, isn't he?
yeah, I think that's what I noticed. He's there competing with Arteta in terms of like the most handsome coaches in the Premier League, that's for sure. So yeah, so I think like Raya and Gabriel and Saliba, like I don't know if it's obvious, but for me, I feel like those three are just going to start regardless. I also feel Rice will start regardless. I had a look at Rodri in the run-in last year. He pretty much played nearly every minute of every game every 3 days. So I think Rice is perfectly capable. I think Jorginho drops out here. So I do think someone like Thomas Partey, maybe we saw him come on last game, starting to get a little bit of fitness back. Maybe he can start in this one. Odegaard, I feel he's got it in him to do like a Rice or a Gabriel and just play every game. But there is a small doubt that says maybe for me, like a Vieira or a Smith Rowe could slot in there. So that's just a 50-50 for me. I don't know how I feel about both fullbacks being rotated in the same time. So
Same.
originally I thought maybe Zinchenko and Tomiyasu, but now I'm wondering whether like only one of them plays for Kivior and White retains his place. Saka, I think he starts. I don't think that's even a question. I think it's a case of trying to sub him off as early as possible if we can go ahead. I think Havertz starts as well, which then kind of just leaves like Martinelli, I also think starts. So my
Okay,
only
you think he
question
starts?
marks, yeah, I think he starts. So my question marks are Zinchenko for Kivior is one change, Partey for Jorginho is the other change, and I think Martinelli in for one of Jesus or Havertz in that front three. So I
Okay.
think there's only three changes.
Yeah, fair play. I think similar. And Mike's also said the same as well. He thinks it's our only chance to rotate, but only 2 to 3. And he's also thrown in their party to get minutes. Any chance Eddie gets a start. You know, one of my other mates said that about Eddie. With respect to Eddie, and like I'm grateful for everything he did when we were going for top 4, and he did well in the team. Like I fucking hope not. Okay, no, that's harsh. I think Luton at home is probably a game where you can play him and it'll be fine, but just don't think we need to do that per se. I think with me, I'm the same as you and Mike. I think there'll only be 2 to 3 changes max, and I think same as you, Nima. Like so many people have blown this out of proportion in terms of rotation. Arteta has never domestically in the league gone and done wholesale changes. The only time he's done that is for the EFL Cup and the Europa League. And so,
I've
yeah,
never seen it in the Prem. Yeah, I can't think of the
it's like,
last time I saw it.
and also, like, I don't know if you watched or read his press conference from yesterday. He was quite clear about like relationships on the pitch and people being familiar with each other, who's played where. And this one, it's really interesting. You know, I think there's so many domino effects with this team. So I look at someone like Saka, and I think if you take him out, who are we then going to play there? Reece Nelson hasn't really had consistent minutes. If we then put Jesus right wing, we're then having to change who plays on the left from Sunday. I personally don't think Martinelli's ready to start. I think the fact that Trossard came on before him on Sunday indicates that he's not quite ready. Clive made a good
Do you
point.
think maybe like Jesus could go through the middle and like
So
Trossard could go through the left?
I'll get to that. So bear
Yeah,
with
sorry,
me
sorry, I'm
because
jumping the gun. Sorry.
no, don't be silly because you're going to see my brain's going to be going through the whole team and it's all like a domino effect. So like Clive also made a good point on Martinelli. There was one sprint on Sunday where he lost it, and that you never see that with him. And I just thinking in what's coming ahead, I wonder if today's a good game for a Trossard where we need to unlock someone that's a bit deep in the sense I reckon Luton will park the bus. And then you look at Saturday where we've got Brighton, and that's more of a transition opportunity to then get Martinelli a start ahead of Bayern, which it feels like tailor-made. So I think in terms of easing him back in, I feel like it'll be another sub appearance for him today.
Yeah, like he wouldn't start today, Brighton and Bayern after his layoff from the injury.
Tactically today, I'm predicting Luton to kind of sit back, which needs a Jesus, a Trossard to unlock them. So anyway, going away with it, I'm thinking like, yeah, if Saka gets moved out, you're then having to move Jesus, you're then having to fiddle with the left, and I think there's too much changes there. And it's the same with the fullback area. I look at it as pairs. So Kiwior and White, right? We've seen earlier this season around that December period, Kiwior was inverting into midfield, and it doesn't really suit him, right? So then we flipped the dynamics, and White was then doing it, and Kiwior was more tucking in as a third centre back. Gabriel was the central centre back, and so as a result, I look at them as a pair. I don't see Kiwior and Tomiyasu starting the same game unless Jorginho's in midfield, because I think if Kiwior and Tomiyasu are the fullbacks, I don't think either of them will invert into midfield. And I think as a result, you need a Jorginho or a Partey there. And the knock-on effect of that is I think at home to Luton, a midfield of Rice and Partey or Rice and Jorginho is overkill. I don't think we need that much. I think we need just the lone six of Rice or Partey. I'm with you. I think Rice will start every game. And then as a result, you have the eights next to Rice of Odegaard and or a Havertz, a Trossard, a Vieira, a Smith Rowe. And you have either White at right back or Zinchenko at left back inverting. And as a result, that's what, can you see what I mean about all the domino effects? I think it's all like linked all over the pitch.
As soon as you get past a few more changes, say you get to the fourth change in the 11, it's almost like it just disrupts everything, all the relationships, all the angles that they're used to playing, and just the comfort of knowing where someone's going to be, like that telepathic connection sometimes. So yeah, I think maybe I was just trying to shoehorn Jesus and Martinelli in together again, because I really long for the days when Jesus first arrived pre-World Cup and these two were just like dining out on defenses. And that was the pace of the 50 points in 19 games pace. I think I just feel like people wrote off Jesus really quickly.
Agree.
Like really quickly, like people want him fully replaced. They're talking about all these £100 million strikers. They think his time is over. And I'm like, if we're going to win something serious this year, and you know me, like I'm happy to wait 18 months. And my goal is we win one of the big trophies by the end of the following season. But if we were to win one earlier than expected this season, I don't see how it's going to not be with Jesus playing a key part. Like, I just don't get it.
Yeah, 100%. I look at, like, this is why I was quite quick to kind of snub my nose at Eddie, because I think between Jesus and Havertz, we've got two phenomenal options there that gives us different options against different teams. But just going back to, like, obviously I went on that kind of brain fart moment. It wasn't a brain fart, it was just kind of talking out loud. But as a result, that's why I think I look at this game and what am I expecting? I'm expecting Luton also have a lot of injuries, by the way. So I think it is a game where we could get away with rotating a few, but I just think that goes against Arteta's principles. And as a result, I think he'll go for a team that is ball dominant. yeah, ball dominant with people that can play in pockets and look to manipulate space. As a result, I think it will be Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, I think will come in. I think it will be Rice as the lone six with a midfield of Odegaard and Trossard next to him. And then up top, I think it'll be the same front three. I think it'll be Saka, Havertz, and Jesus. And then as a result, you've got familiarity there, right? You remember against West Ham, Burnley, Trossard, Havertz interchanging left eight up top. I think that's a relationship that stays there. Zinchenko is comfortable inverting, playing next to Rice. White can play more of his like right centre back overlapping role when needed. I think that way you keep consistency in relationships, but also have the players available to play the game at hand. So that's what I'm going for personally. We've got Pontus in the chat who's got is that the same as me? Yeah, I think Trossard and Zinchenko comes in, and that's the two changes in the starting 11 tonight. He said he thinks it'll be Havertz back to left centre mid. But yeah, I think it will be quite fluid. Uncle Mike says, if we have a good start and up a couple of goals, then we see more rotation to give minutes, maybe some Nelson or Smith Rowe. And that's exactly it. I think this for me is a game where I think we're going to start strong, try go comfortably up, and then look at Sunday, like having Tomiyasu come on for half hour, party for 20 minutes. I think play in a game like this, although people are like, oh, Saka needs a rest, Rice needs a rest. No one was saying that after Sheffield United, Burnley, West Ham, because they barely exerted any energy. And I think it's
They were
a game
like coasting through on like just the second year or something. Yeah.
exactly. And I think tonight has the potential to be like that. So I think same as what Mike said as well. Start strong, get up early, and then I can see the likes of Smith Rowe, Nelson, Vieira, one of the fullbacks of a party. Like, yeah, I think it's really going to be a day for the squad today. But start strong and then get them off.
So you don't see a shock start for Ethan Nwaneri?
No, I think if it was Twitter picking the lineup, I think a lot of them would do that. To be fair,
Have you seen the reason I bring him up is Arteta was saying he's very close to the first team in general,
is
and
it?
that he's kind of just come out with some quotes. So I think obviously not this season, but it feels that he may fight himself into being a key squad first team member like next season, I think, which is very early for his age, but it seems that he's there like fighting his way in training and he's building those relationships, just not in first team matches, but he's there with them, he's in training, he's always with them, he's going on all the tours, right? Like he's
Yeah,
getting
that's
that
mad.
he was sitting on the bench in the Champions League. Like I think he's just getting slowly blooded, and he's just signed his first professional contract with us as well, right? And he said there was nowhere else he would ever go, and this is home.
Yeah, fair
After
play.
all the noise about how we were going to lose him to Man City, but yeah, I thought I'd add that in there. On just Luton, I want to say, because I know this is maybe perhaps a combo for when we get to the score prediction, but I'll just briefly touch on it and we can continue it then. But yeah, ultimately, I've read recently that like nearly every game they've lost this season has been by like 1 goal margin. So that's something that I was like quite surprised by, because you kind of think of them like the rest of the promoted teams, right? Where they've come up and it feels like they're all going to go straight down. But actually, from a neutral point of view, Luton and Rob Edwards, fair play to them. Like they've played very well this season. Like they look like they have goals in them. And unlike, Sheffield United and Burnley, who just have looked like they're just going to literally implode, like they just genuinely do not look like they can survive at this level. Luton look like, with all the points deductions being handed out and stuff, they're in for a fighting chance, So I think they're well up for it, but they're just missing a lot of key first team players. Like Alfie Doughty, he might not be back for tonight as well. So there's that. I think Hashioka might be playing in the back three. I'd never seen him before a few weeks ago. So again, like I think these are all like, it's either players who are great, like Doughty, and a massive threat to us, but they're potentially injured, and then everyone else playing. I think Burke's been playing, Mengi's been playing. Like there's just so many players missing. Kabore scored an own goal the other day.
Yeah.
Like it just feels like it's all falling apart for them, unfortunately. But
Yeah,
like,
just to
what do you
add
think
to
about
that.
them?
Well, no, same as you. I think a lot of respect for them, and they're a team I hope they stay up. I just worry that injuries are too much for them, and I think if they didn't have the amount of injuries, I wouldn't be as confident as I am today, because, like you said, most games are won by 1 goal. We had to get a last-minute winner there. I know it was a smaller pitch and stuff, and it's different at the Emirates, but they give teams a tough go, but I think tonight will be routine because like I'm on FOTMob, right, and I'm just going to read out the amount of injuries. Lokonga, okay, fair enough, he wouldn't be able to play anyway, but still, Lokonga, Bell, Ogbene, Adebayo, Osho, Brown, Nakamba, Lockyer, and that like there's a couple of people I've not even read out there who are like squad players. That's like 6 or
There's
7
at least
first
4 or
team.
5. Yeah, like that's just like the entire back line, apart from I think maybe Doughty and Kabore, but Doughty
And
might not make it either.
Ogbene up top as well.
Ogbene's just gone out, yeah.
Adebayo, like that. Yeah, and then I read the predicted lineup of a Luton fan, and I'm sorry, but if their lineup is this: Kaminsky, Hashioka, Mengi, Johnson, Kabore and Panzu, Barkley, Onyendinma, Townsend, Morris, Clark, like.
Oh wow,
that
sounds like lineup. Second string. That sounds poor.
Yeah,
and so at the Emirates, you've got to think that we will want to go for it. I think we know that although our goal difference looks very good right now, Liverpool do play Sheffield United at Anfield tomorrow, and you've got to think that they are probably expecting to make up some of that, claw back some of that goal difference.
Yeah, what's the difference? It's 6, right?
6, yeah. I think we're on 46 and they're on 40.
So with that in mind,
to make that up.
What are you thinking for tonight?
Oh man,
score prediction time. Get him in the chat if you're in.
I'm just trying to think because I want to predict a clean sheet, but maybe that's just ambitious. I've just said they can score, but the lineup prediction you read out does not inspire confidence in me.
Can I go for it?
You go for it, yeah.
Because I've said this before. I think I said it before Sheffield United. I thought it would be a game where they just barely touch the ball, barely get out of our half. Out of their half, sorry. I think I said before that I thought we'd break records for touches in the box. I think it will be similar to that. I don't think Luton are going to get a sniff. I think we're going to go with a very strong team. I think the only time Luton will get a sniff is if we're inevitably 2 or 3-0 up and make changes, and then the game becomes a bit more open. So
that's my thinking that
I think we'll win 4-0.
Subs. Okay, so you don't think they'll get that cheeky goal after all the subs? I don't think so,
no. Fine. I think it's well, obviously there's a chance, but if I had to put money on it, I'm going 4-0. Seen a few of the guys have got 3-0. Mike's got 3-0. Pontus has got 3-0. But yeah, I think this is going to be a dominant display, like 65% plus possession, Phil Tilt FC titles, all of that stuff.
So I'm going to go for a bold one because I feel like this is something that we've been doing all season, which is I think we've won like a crazy number of games by 5 goals or more in the league.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go for another 5-0. I was thinking the thing is I was thinking like 4-1, 5-1. I thought, if we're really far ahead, we're going to make some subs and then they'll get a cheeky goal. But I'm just going to go based on the fact of the vibes of the interview I saw. If you've not seen the interview where Gabriel and Saliba are playing the game.
That was brilliant.
It's one of the best things I've seen. They're just cheating throughout and speaking in French. They just cracked me up like little naughty school kids. So just based on the vibes where they said, who's the best defender in the Premier League? Who does Gabby think is the best defender in the Premier League? And then Gabriel just writes down Gabriel. I loved it. Oh, I loved it. So that confidence, that makes me think regardless of the subs, if we go ahead, that these two are going to fight for the clean sheet to the death. Like they just look like they fight for every clean sheet to them is like, that's like a goal. Like that's how Gabriel and Saliba celebrate these moments.
Yeah, it's true. I love that about this lot. They just seem to love defending.
So 5-0. Imagine you said that about Arsenal 10 years ago, or at the end of the Wenger reign or the Emery reign when we were letting 30 shots from Watford against 10 men. Like, if you told them that we were going to be one of the best defenses in Europe by a distance, I don't know if I could have ever believed you.
I know, it's fucking mad. But yeah, we'll leave it there. So hopefully we're all correct and it's a clean sheet, and hopefully Nima's correct with the score, because I think, yeah, you make a good point about goal difference. I didn't really think of that. We're 6 ahead right now, but then like you say, they have to play Liverpool have to play Sheffield United, and they'll be looking at that as a 5-0 minimum type thing.
They're targeting that for a big. So they could easily if we just win 1-0. The goal difference might be the same by the end of this game.
So and then you look at the rest of the fixtures, there's not many more games I look at where I'm like, oh yeah, we can get 3 or 4 here. So that goal
It gets
difference can
tough.
quickly become even. So yeah, that's a good point.
In my mind as well, I feel like the subs are going to score some goals. So I feel like the fringe players want to fight to prove why they should be used more in this run-in. So in
Yeah,
my mind, that's where the five has come from. I'm actually thinking 2 or 3 is normal, but I think there's going to be some players who, like Smith Rowe, is due his first goal in a long time, and you know Martinelli, I'd like to see him get a goal off the bench. Like, there's a lot of players I
yeah.
want. Vieira, I want to see him get a goal on his return. So I'm just kind of maybe hoping. It's a lot of hope rather than logic, but I'm hoping that they want the goal difference to go up and that the subs want to fight their way into getting more minutes for the run-in.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And to be fair, like I tweeted this the other day. It's really sad, but I get really excited about the idea of seeing the changes and the use of subs. I think there's something about we become so familiar with the same starting 11 that I want to see what can a Vieira do in like 30, 40 minutes. What can Smith Rowe do? I want to see more of these in air quotes fringe players in the
Yeah,
running.
I want to
So
learn more
there's
about
something
our different
about
options.
it that excites me about seeing them plugged in. I think I can put it into words. It's seeing one or two plugged into a world class system. That's what excites me because you know what they're all capable of. But we've had to see them in
Historically,
rotated
they've been on their
11s, right?
own. Yeah. Yeah. Historically, they play like in a Europa League group stage and like everyone's changed. So you
Yeah.
see them on their own trying to do something, but they're not with the 11. They don't have the relationships.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's something about it that really excites me, and yeah, I'm looking forward to tonight. It should be a good one, and hopefully we fully utilize the squad and share the load as well. But anything from you before we head out of here?
No, just up the Gunners for tonight. Thanks to everyone who tuned in live. As we say, if you enjoyed the episode, please do hit that like button and help us on our journey to 300 subscribers for the end of the season.
Doing
I
a
don't know.
pod for every single game, preview and review. So we're
I was
grafting.
going to say fair play to Clayton, who's been going with the preview and reviews for every single game, even when I can't make it. So, and also thank you to Pontus who came on as a guest and lots of other guests we've had over the international break. So I think, yeah, we're really excited to finish strong, both on the pitch and on the pod.
Hey, nothing more to say. Cheers, everyone. Up the Arsenal.
Come on, you guys.